Let me take you back to one of the lowest and tightest points of my life. This is me. I was 15 years old and I was at badminton training. I loved the sport my entire life. My entire life, I had access to some of the most world class coaches and some of the most incredible facilities in the world. But I had a problem. None of my clothes fit properly. Every shirt, every pair of shorts, they felt like a battle. And at the time, it felt like the whole world was against me. Imagine this at training, everybody else is doing the laps, they're warming up, they're running, and they look light on their feet. They look smooth, they're moving smoothly. And then there was me at the back. I was running like an invisible anchor holding me back and looking like I was just trying to conserve energy instead of actually giving in my all. But here's the thing, even though I was overweight, even though I was slow, I still was not that bad at the sport. Good enough, in fact, to get multiple training sessions with Germany's national team trainer, a former Olympian who had played on the biggest stage the world had to offer. Every training session before her, I used to think, this was my chance. This was my chance to show someone who'd really been at the top of the sport that I had potential, that I could improve. One training session, I remember, I was drenched in sweat and I was feeling proud because on that day, I really had given it my all. And right as we were about to leave, I went up with my dad to ask the Olympian for feedback. And I leaned in and I expected her to say something like, maybe he needs to improve his backhand, his drop shots needs to be steeper, his smash needs to be closer to the line, something technical. Instead, when we went up to her and I leaned in, she looked at me, she looked at my dad, and she said 6 words that completely changed my life. She said, he needs to lose the weight. She paused. Without that, he has no chance. No chance is what she said. It didn't have anything to do with my skill. It didn't have anything to do with my strategy. It was a cold, hard physical trait that I had to fix. And at that moment, I realized that every day for us, for all of us here, the biggest opponents, the biggest adversaries that we will ever face are ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in our society, we seem to have a cultural obsession with the big idea, the light bulb moment, the flash of genius, the $1 million concept that supposedly appears in a moment of genius. Society tells us every day that we need to be in constant wait of this idea. We need to be waiting for the idea, and once we get it, then we can start working. I believe we have this completely backwards. Because if you look all around us, the most powerful transformations that we see every single day, none of them were born out of a moment of genius. All of them began with an observation. For me, my idea of I need to lose weight didn't come from a moment of brilliance. It came from a very brutal, harsh, truthful observation that the only thing standing between me and my dream of winning was my weight and being slow, and I had to fix that. That observation came first, and then consequently came the idea. For students struggling in school, the idea of I need a better study plan, it doesn't just manifest itself. The brutal, honest reality that I'm failing a lot of my classes and I look at my phone every 6 minutes so I can't focus, the acknowledgement of that reality is what leads to the idea developing. The reason this happens is because at the end of the day, an idea is just a very comfortable dream that we have about the future. Whereas, on the other hand, an observation is a very painful and harsh and uncomfortable truth about the present. And it's this very discomfort that forces us to act. It's this discomfort that invokes one of the most powerful forces for change in the world, discipline. But what is discipline? Is it just an ambiguous thing, a feeling? No, there's science behind it. In his book, The Power of Habit, author Charles Duhigg talks about a concept he calls keystone habits. A keystone habit is just a habit that a single core habit that dominoes and has a cascading effect, a whole host of positive effects on your life. For me, my painful observation led to one single habit. I decided to wake up every single day before school and run a 5K. That was it. That was a simple single habit that I decided to implement into my life. But watch what happened. Because I had to wake up early so I could fit in the run before the school, I had to go to sleep earlier. So I racked up less late night screen time. And no one ever wants to ruin a 5K with a bag of chips right after, so my nutrition improved as a result. So you see how one simple core habit had a whole host of positive cascading effects on my life. My nutrition improved, my lifestyle improved, my focus improved, and my training improved because I did lose 15 kilograms in the 2 months that I did this program. And this isn't unique to me at all. Think of the most successful people you know. One of the most famous comedians in the world, Jerry Seinfeld, he used a similar strategy. His idea was to become the best, most brilliant, the most well-known comedian the world had yet ever seen. And his system for it was simple. For every single day that he wrote a joke, he put a big red X on a giant wall calendar that he had next to him. As he said, after a few days, you'll have a chain. Just keep at it and the chain will grow longer every day. You like seeing that chain, especially when you get a few weeks under your belt. Your only next job is to not break that chain. Now, Seinfeld, he didn't wait for the joke, for the most brilliant joke to come to him. His focus was not on the idea. His focus was on the system. He created and produced a system that guaranteed that he will be the one to produce brilliant jokes. He didn't wait. And this brings me to one of the ideas that I want you to take away from this talk. Our entire lives, every day, people tell us that we need to be the architects of our lives, that we need to constantly be designing the perfect plan, the perfect career, the perfect idea, the perfect life. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, an architect's blueprint, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a file on a computer. It doesn't actually move the needle and get the house built. It's the bricklayer that does the work, that shows up day after day, in the rain or in the sun, and lays the brick, one after another. Discipline is the act of being the bricklayer of your own life. But how do you actually do it? How do you become the bricklayer of your own life? Because there are days where everyone just feels tired. Like you wake up, it's not as if you don't care about your goals. It's just that you're tired, like you're not feeling motivated. You just don't feel like it that day. What do you do? How do you stay consistent? How do you keep laying one brick after another when you're tired? There's a system for it. It's called the ABC method. It's a method of classifying your days to give yourself a guarantee that no matter what happens, no matter what life throws at you, no matter how you wake up, you have a way to keep going. Level A days, these are the best days you can hope for. These are the days where you wake up and the fire is in your heart. You're feeling motivated, you woke up with 8 hours of sleep, you're feeling energetic, and the only thing you want to do is conquer every item on your to-do list. These are the best days. Now, level B days, on the other hand, are the 80%, the 60% to 80% of the days. These are most days we will have. We're not tired per se, but we're also not feeling it fully. These are the days where instead of doing the full 5K in the morning, I would cut it down to a 3K. Instead of going to the morning training session and giving it my all, I would go to the morning training session, but conserve some energy for the afternoon gym session and the evening training session. That was my strategy. But level C days, these are the absolute worst. These are the days where you wake up and you do not want to get out of the bed. These are the days where your brain is screaming at you saying, you tried so hard, you're working towards your goal every day, you tried so hard all the other days, just give it up for one day. It's not like one day is going to move the needle. Just give it up for one day. And these, level C days, are the most important thing to conquer. And here's the technique to do it. It's called micro tasks. For me, instead of thinking and focusing on how tired I would feel before the run, how tired I would feel during the run, and how tired I would feel after the run, I focused on the simple micro tasks that I had to do. Put on the gear, roll out the yoga mat, and do some stretches before the run. That is what I focused on my level C days. The simplest actions. And what would you know? Just by putting on the gear and rolling out the mat, I manifested the motivation that I was previously missing. I created the motivation that I didn't have. And by the time I did the stretches, I was in the mood for a run. I did it and I felt happy during and after. The same way for training in the evening. If I didn't feel like going, I would just focus on the micro tasks, put on the clothes, get in the car, get to the training place, and walk and talk to the coach. Nobody wants to talk to the coach and then go back home right in the car. It basically guaranteed that the action that I wanted to do, it happened. This is a way to manage level C days. Now, the strategy here isn't to avoid them because frankly you can't. We all have these days. The secret to impact is to have a plan for your level C days, because when you have a plan, they don't catch you by surprise. You're ready for it. If you have a creative project for level C, maybe your only micro task that you want to do is go to your desk, sit down, write a sentence. For academics, maybe sit at your table, open a book and read a page. For fitness, maybe put on your shoes and walk to the end of the street. Something small. But remember to define your level C, because that is the brick that builds the entire wall. And this system, this ABC system and Keystone Habits, they didn't just help me change my fitness, they helped me improve my life in business and entrepreneurship as well. When I was 16 years old, I found a bunch of companies that needed help with their marketing. I had zero experience, I had zero qualifications, I basically had no idea what I was doing. But I went to them and I said, I'll work for you for free for 2 weeks, and if I don't help you help you generate any new revenue, and if I don't help you hit your goals, you don't owe me anything. This came from my observation that was essentially I'm a nobody. I had no proof. I had no authority in the space, so I had to come up with the proof. I had to build the proof. I had to become the proof. As a result, my keystone habit changed. Instead of waking up early to do the run, I had to wake up sometimes at 2 a.m. to match time zones with my clients, build marketing automations, content systems, funnels to help them hit their KPIs and help them hit their targets. So a lot of the companies that I worked with, they had monthly targets they wanted to hit. Using some of the systems I built, they were able to hit that within a week. So you can see how I was able to go from being a very slow player that nobody wanted to coach to hitting a lot of the short-term goals that I set for myself. So did Seinfeld, and I guarantee you, so did almost every other successful person you know. The trajectory is very similar. And let me tell you this, none of this happened, none of this began with a flash of genius. Absolutely none of it did. The observation always came first. The discipline and the actions, they came second, and the results came last. So here's my challenge to you, parents, faculty, and students sitting here today. Stop waiting for the perfect idea and stop waiting for the moment of brilliance to appear. Instead, go home tonight and make one observation about your goals. What are they? What are your goals? What is your current reality? Ask yourself these questions and then define your level C for this. What is the smallest, what is the simplest thing you can do today, that you can do tomorrow, that you can do every single day, that guarantees you hit your goals, that guarantees you write the most brilliant joke? What's the smallest possible thing you can do that'll guarantee your success? Define your level C and then actually do it. Because a 15-year-old child who was told that he had no chance could do it, imagine what you could do. Thank you.